Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. In this episode, myself and Tom sat down with Pete in his second interview after a month of following both the system and the Platinum Squad. If you don't know who Pete is, go and watch or listen to part 1, where we interviewed him 6 weeks ago. This was filmed on Wednesday, the 31st of August, and we sat down and spoke about Pete's journey over his first month. His first day on the system was the 27th of August, just last Saturday, where the system went plus 15 units profit and Pete had an absolute ball of a day. He speaks about his mistakes so far, how much profit he's made, what he's learned, and some feedback for anyone else who's interested in getting involved. Don't forget, Pete only started doing this stuff just 4 weeks ago. Prior to this, he only ever had a Sportsbet account. He's a 34-year-old father of 3 who's an absolutely normal guy. If you want to follow his journey so far, go across to his Instagram, Pete Platinum. If you want to get in contact with him, he's open to accepting DMs. As always, if you have any questions for us, check the links in the description or DM us on either the Hussla Squad Instagram or the System Oz. Hope you guys enjoy. All right, welcome back, Pete. This is your second interview. We're about 1 month in to your journey, I think.
Yep.
Obviously, been a bit of a roller coaster so far. A lot of people have been tracking your progress on Instagram. And this is probably just a follow-up to see how you've been going, where you're at, how much profit you've made, et cetera, and then we can chat about some other interesting stuff we found as well.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's been a crazy month to start. So yeah, the Insta account's getting up. I'm not a social media guy at all, so that's been interesting. But yeah, we've got a few accounts set up. Followed for the first time on Saturday just gone, so we'll have a chat about that. But yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, nice. I guess so far, how much in exactly are you? What is it, 1 month or just over?
So I signed up just over a month ago. So I think we had our first chat sort of mid-July, and then I signed up that week. Went through everything. So went back, was watching it on my lunch breaks at work. Was watching it after the kids went to bed. Went back, rewatched it. Yeah, basically wanted to let it all.
The course that is, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, man. Yes. So that's the both the system stuff and the platinum. So I signed up with both. In for a penny, in for a pound. Might as well know everything to start off with.
Yeah. For those people that aren't familiar with your story, right? You're somebody that's come from a background of zero punting. So you're somebody that had one betting account, 10 years ago, used to place one bet on the Melbourne Cup or something like that, but never used your account. So I guess this check-in is really good for people, especially for, a lot of people did watch that first podcast. So people that are following up now, there are a lot of people that contact us, especially on the system, and I'm sure at the Hussla Squad as well, that have never placed a bet before in their life or have one betting account, rarely bet. Similar situation to yourself, if I go to the races, I'll place a bet on my app, or if the Melbourne Cup's on, I'll place a $2, first 4 or whatever. And that's all they do for the whole year. So how have you found the content from a perspective of somebody that doesn't really know their way around a betting app, doesn't really understand, placing bets? How have you found it from that perspective?
Yeah. So the vast majority of it made pretty clear sense, because it's more to do with the math and the system. Funny enough, there were a few bits and pieces that made sense after I had everything set up. Once I was actually in the accounts, once I was looking around at sort of the apps, the way that odds are presented, the way that events are presented, the way that promos are presented, that sort of stuff. Going back and looking into those, those again, made a lot more sense. I guess, yeah. I mean, if I'm being overly critical, the only thing I guess that hung me up is there's no real clear starting point, and I guess it's impossible to do that. You can't tell somebody, hey, go and sign up for, all right, go and open up Sportsbet and Boombet and Elite Bet and Tab Touch, because if everybody opened the same 5 accounts, then it's not going to work. So, I mean, I've been keeping a bit of a diary and sort of my thoughts on it. And that was the first big thing, is that once I'd watched it all, I had to reach back out to you guys to be like, what do I do now? Like, where do I start? Because the nerves kick in and I'm like, I have no idea. I've just watched all this. I've taken on all this information, but I don't know what to do next. And I mean, I think that's a pretty common problem that people have. Is it's like, all right, I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to go and open the accounts, but there's whatever it is, 40 bookies. Which ones do I open? Okay, well, the promo list. There's the chat from the Saturdays as to who's being used regularly. All right, makes sense to go and open those guys up to start with, if I'm going to be following along. So yeah, I mean I think that's just natural. I was kind of overwhelmed with how much there is, which is not a bad thing. I mean, that's the more information you get, the better. But
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there, because like some people that do have betting history, for example, like you said, they might already have 10, 15 bookies open and they've got betting history through them. So, the logical progression for them would be, oh, okay, looks like there's, a few other bookies that I don't have. Let's start here. Whereas for somebody that has a complete clean slate, so like which bookie is going to be the most valuable for me? Which one should I spend some time at the start? Which one's going to be the best for me to get some practice through, some of these methods, or practice some of my turning bonus bets over? Which ones are going to work best? And you are right. There's probably a way in which we could communicate that a little bit clearer. And we do have, personal discussions with people that do go through the whole course. They finish the whole Platinum Squad, or they've gone through all the system content, and then they're like, all right, mate, I've literally never placed a bet before. So, give me the A to Z. What's next? And yeah, as you touched on as well, we can't just literally say, all right, guys, this is what you should do. Open up Sportsbet, open up Tab, open up this one, then do this one, place your bets here. Because if we do that for 440 Platinum Squad members, or for the 410 system subscribers, if every single person opens their accounts up the exact same way, they're going to get linked together. And I heard JP say something really cool. I think it was on the live last week, that at the system it's a little bit different, but at Hussla Squad, we'll teach you to fish and then you go and fish. We're not going to tell you the fishing spot. We're not going to tell you which rod to use. We're not going to tell you what bait to use, because you don't need to know that information. You need to know that, you put bait on the end of the line, you throw it in the water, and you catch fish. And that's what we teach you to do.
Yeah.
And then you go and do that and adapt it to wherever, if you start catching fish somewhere and it works for you, you stay in that spot. Vice versa, you move when you're not catching fish and stuff like that. And I thought that was a really good way of explaining it. There's only so much that we can tell you guys to do, because otherwise it becomes robotic and systematic, and it's very obvious what you're all doing, and then you're all going to get linked and banned. So yeah, I'm glad that you found it that way as well, because once you start getting the ball rolling as well with some of these things, you just have to start, right? You've got all the content, you've got all the knowledge, you know what to do, but it's like, shit, what do I do for my first bet? Which bonus bet do I turn over first? How do I start using Betfair? And then once you actually start doing it, starting with smaller stakes, smaller bonuses, and then work your way through it, it becomes, you become more proficient. I remember speaking to you on Saturday night after the fill up at the system on Saturday, and you're like, man, it's genuinely a piss take. Like, you're like, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
And that's the realization that a lot of people do have after about a month of going through the content, starting to turn some bonuses into free cash, using a few other methods, jumping on the system. They're like, what the fuck just happened? I just sat down for 4 hours and made, 15 units. I made $250 in 4 hours or whatever. What the fuck just happened? Like,
Yeah.
And that's a cool moment of realization. And then it's like, all right, now I know what to do. Let's fucking knuckle down and, take it a bit more seriously.
Yeah, that was it.
Just to add to that as well. Sorry, Pete, to interrupt. Just to add to the bit about starting you off on your accounts. Obviously, the system, Platinum, two different things, but Platinum more in depth with its training. We are updating the content at the moment to make that specific thing that you've just said a little bit more clear. There's a part 2 video of the how to start up your accounts one, but why we can't tell you exactly where to or like the order is because everyone's capital is different.
Yeah.
Everyone has different accounts open to start. And obviously that will change where you go. If you come into the system with $500 or with $1,000, then obviously that's going to change how you approach things as opposed to coming in with $10,000 and no accounts. So basically that you want to find a balance between taking sign-up offers and obviously being able to take advantage of those and also still sustain your accounts. So as well as not using up all your capital. So in your position, I think you started with how much you started with, like 5?
So after signing up with you guys, $1,000 across everything that I've done.
Yeah.
But I mean, cool. It's an interesting point. So I actually had someone reach out to me on Instagram, and shout out to GT. I won't use his whole name, but he messaged me asking, is this legit? Like, he's been watching you guys for a while, thinking about it. And he was like, how much money do I need to actually get this started? So I told him, I was like, look,
Yeah.
I started with $1,000, but I could have done the exact same stuff that I've done with under $500 easy.
Yeah.
I probably overestimated and put in a bit more than I needed to grab a couple of sign up bonuses from a few bigger offers. That, you know,
Yeah.
if I had fished around a little bit more for different bookies with smaller sign-ups, easy could have done the same thing with you know, $50 or $100 sign-up bonuses. I think you know, like the big one that I put in, I think was like Ladbrokes had like a $250 or $300 match sign up, and so I'm like, all right, cool, I'll load that one up. Um,
Yeah.
and that's where a huge chunk of my capital went. But I mean, if that was a $50 sign up, I would have put $100 in there, and you know, now instead of $1,000, I've only put in 800, and I would have done the exact same thing. I haven't used anywhere near that much capital.
Yeah. Yeah, so we teach that a little bit in more detail in Platinum. Obviously, that's not as much taught through the videos of the system. However, it's kind of touched on a little bit, but obviously when we're doing the follow-ups, when we're welcoming, Steve will welcome every sub, then Tom will follow them up, or I will follow them up with any questions. If someone asks that and says, hey, like, what do I do? We'll help them.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, a lot of people come across with 6, 8 bookies already, 4 bookies. We then go and tell them, okay, well, here's the promo list, add these bookies to it as well. And then depending on how much money you have, you want to obviously take advantage of sign-up offers as well as still making sure you're getting them ready for promotions. Obviously, we've got our own rules set up where the sustainability video in the system will teach you not to use promotions in a certain amount of time or do certain things before you start following the system. And a lot of people struggle to understand this, and it's a battle for us because recently we have updated that video, which is now 45 minutes. And when someone comes into us and says, look, I'm ready to follow, I'm going to start following, I want to start with a $50 unit size, we know they haven't watched the videos because it says in the videos not to do that. So then we have to then tell them, all right, man, like, look, we're pretty much now to the point where we're big enough to be not ruthless in a way where we don't care, but in a way where we can say, look, mate, we know you haven't watched the video. If you want to be successful, go and watch it. And it sounds like maybe 6 months ago, we probably wouldn't have approached it like that because it may come across as like arrogant or rude. But the reality is we've made these videos and these rules because of so much of our knowledge ourselves, but then now building these communities and getting so much feedback from other people and knowing how these bookies work. We're telling you this for a reason, not for fucking because we like the sound of our own voice. Like we want these guys to be successful because if they don't follow it, they're not here in 6 months' time. They have no accounts left. So when they come to us and say, yeah, I'm ready to follow, I'm going to do this, and it's against the rules, we have to put them in line in a nice way. And most of the time, like 95% of the time, like we'll rinse people in a nice way. Like, look, mate, give them a reality check. We'll be like, look, you haven't watched a video, go and watch it. You need to understand this. And they'll be like, oh, sorry, like, I actually thank you very much for putting me in line. Like they're not taking it the wrong way, which is awesome.
It's not about not caring. And I've sent a few of these follow-up messages actually this week. It's completely the opposite, right? Like the reason that it takes, a month to put that video together and it goes for 45 minutes is not because we don't care. And when somebody says, I'm going to follow on a big unit size, or they say something that's very contradictory to what's actually in the video and they haven't watched it, we don't tell them don't follow because, we like being the boss and telling people what to do. We're telling them that because, first of all, you've paid $100 for a monthly subscription, right? So you've paid good money. So you want to get something out of your subscription. And if you don't do it correctly from the start, sure, you might be able to make profit in your first month or 2 months. But as GP said, in 3 or 4 months, you're gone. You're done. You've lost your accounts. You've probably spent $300 on subscriptions and you haven't got what you should have got out of it. So we don't care about if you make profit in your first couple of weeks. And, it's similar to like Hussla Squad Platinum. That's not the focus, right? The focus isn't to make your money overnight or for you to get rich quick. But what happens is if you do things properly, if you go through the content properly and you set things up properly, you will consistently make a profit month on month. And if you do that for 12, 18, 24 months, your bankroll grows, your unit size grows, you just start accumulating profit through these systems, through match betting. And that's essentially what it is, right?
Yeah.
And people just need to understand that the first 2, 3, 4 weeks, you're learning, you're developing a skill, you're understanding, you're building discipline, you're building structure, you're understanding what to do with your bonus bets, how to most efficiently follow the system, or how you're going to use your match betting skills to make it work for you. Not everybody does the exact same thing. That's the beauty of match betting. But once you get past that initial, 3, 4 week phase, which it seems like you've pushed through now, it becomes a bit of a holy shit. I've now got, a huge opportunity to make a lot of money from not a whole lot of money, and I can decide how seriously I want to take it from here on. Like, now you understand how to follow the system.
Yep.
Now you've wrapped your head around Betfair. You can be like, look, I did start with a $5,000 bankroll, and I only operated on a $5 or $10 unit size until I became more comfortable. You can move to a $15 or a $20 unit size, fairly quickly, and it's completely conservative. It's well within your money management. It's well within all of that, and you're going to be making 2 or 3 times more than you were on the system, a month in, just from following the rules and doing things properly and knowing that your accounts are set up. And that's why we encourage people to take the patient approach, because in a month's time, in 2 months' time, you will reap the rewards. That's the benefit of the system and benefit of being patient through your match betting journey.
Yeah. I mean, I think the other thing, and it's part of the notes that I took and what I've got written down and all that. So like my first day when I had all the accounts opened up, had all my bonuses to turn over, started turning over. The first thing I did was like throw a couple of bonus bets out there. Let me practice this. Let me understand how this works. And it was pretty straightforward. So using Betfair, using Platinum, being 100% honest, if I didn't have Platinum, this would have been a much slower process, because understanding how to do what gets taught in Platinum, I don't know how much you want me to talk about it, but understanding sort of the mechanics of what gets taught in Platinum speeds it up like a ridiculous amount, because I was able to go and turn over those bonuses basically instantly. I didn't really have to hunt around for anything.
Yeah.
It was just like, boom, there's an opportunity, bang, bang, bang. I did fuck up a few times. So I put a few mug bets.
That's going to be my next question.
Yeah, no. So I definitely fucked up a couple of times. So I mugged a few bets without dutching it, without hedging it. So losing $5 and $10 here and there. I was putting on like $5 and $10 multis when I could have got away with doing like $1 or $2 multis with stupid odds just to look like an idiot. I was taking like 8 to 10% on dutching opportunities just because I was in a rush to get it done. I was just like, oh my God, okay, cool, that'll work. Yep, let me just, it was a Sunday afternoon, so I just started betting on the AFL games, and I'm like, oh, it's 8%, who cares? Like, let me just get a couple of bets out of the way. Whereas if I took a breath and waited a little bit for the opportunity, instead of losing 8%, you're only losing 4%, and it's not a huge thing. But
it adds up though.
Yeah, that's right. It does add up. But the massive fuck up was I got to the end of the day, and I was down on a few accounts, which I was more than happy with. I turned my bonuses over. I was looking pretty good. And I still had a sign up bonus. I can't remember which bookie it was with, but I had a sign up bonus, and I'm like, oh, I'm just going to clear this out before I sign off for the night. So I found a race. I think it was over in WA. And I'm like, cool. All right, I'll clear this off. Let me have a look. And I still remember. So the I don't know if you want me to talk about the specific odds, but anyway, it lined up perfectly, right? Like I was going to get a massive return if the horse got up, and I was still clearing about 76%, I think, on the bonus turnover.
Mm-hmm.
Bang bang, happy as Larry. Picked up my drink, had a sip, and then realised that I'd put the lay on the wrong horse, and absolutely hit myself. So I panicked, right? So again, without going into the specifics, it wasn't fully covered. I then threw another bonus bet on the horse that I had laid. I then threw out a bet. I then threw out a back bet on the original horse, but then I forgot to set up Betfair properly, so it didn't get matched. So anyway, the end result was I ended up turning $50 worth of bonuses over at about 23%. And I was like, all right, cool. Yeah. I've made a couple of dollars.
No, that happens.
But that was me. That was me. And going back to the videos you guys released, that was me sitting at the peak amount stupid, thinking, oh, I've done this 10 times today. I know exactly what I'm doing. Click, click, bang, and it's done. And I didn't take those extra 15 seconds to be like, hang on, why are the odds so perfectly lined up?
Why am I getting this ridiculous
match? Why am I getting this ridiculous match? Oh, it's because I'm looking at the horse above it and I've fucked up.
This will happen. Like, obviously, this is why we have so many Betfair videos, and I've just made another one that will get released this week for the Platinum guys. But as well as this, it's very, very encouraged or discouraged to get into Betfair on your own through the system. Like, obviously, the system doesn't teach Betfair, and Betfair is pretty dangerous. Like, we've had guys message us after a month,
man. It's crazy.
Telling us that they've lost $3K.
Yeah, honest to God, man.
betting, and it's like,
If
bro, what are you doing?
if someone had come to me and just given me like the basic shell of it and been like, all right, here's what you do with the bookie, here's what you do with Betfair, and it's guaranteed profit, like it's guaranteed, money in your pocket. I'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then if I had have gone and done it without understanding the math, without understanding the process, without
Yeah,
understanding, what gets taught, I would have completely fucked it. There would have been,
yeah,
I might have
and
got away with it a couple of times, but there would have been one result go the wrong way, and it would have absolutely cleaned me
yeah, yeah, yeah. So basically, yeah, that's the thing with Betfair. Like, there's a lot of different things that you can, like, all it takes is one bet and you're done. Like, if you do it the
Yeah,
wrong way, and this is why,
yeah,
as you said, we have these rules where we have certain things where you want to start off with certain things and then move on to other things. Obviously, horse is much harder, but this is why when people say like to us, "Oh, you can just learn Betfair on a PDF or off YouTube," it's like, yeah, you can, but you can also lose
yeah,
$2,000 in one race, and,
yeah,
and all your bankroll's gone. And being someone who's done Betfair for 7+ years or whatever, in my 7th year or 6th year of match betting, I lost 2,800 on one race because I double laid
mm,
the horse, thinking I only laid it once
yeah,
and fucking won
yeah,
and lost $2,800 in one race. And I swear that I didn't even make the mistake. Like, I must have pressed a button twice when I didn't. I called them up and they didn't do anything about it. They pretty
yeah,
much said it's your fault. And the reality is, it is probably my fault. I probably did press it twice, but that's the danger of it, and it's why we have the progression to small stake, etc.
yeah.
You're muted, Tom.
You're on mute,
I'm
Tommy.
muted, lol.
Yeah,
I was
There
going
you
to
go.
say speaking about the peak of Mount Stupid, right? The reality is, even when you become proficient in Betfair, like I would say that myself, like I'm fairly proficient in Betfair, like I'm quite good at using it. I can even still get to the point where I think I'm better than I really am. And for example, if I end up turning over bonuses, or not really with bonuses, it doesn't really matter because I usually am still pretty clever, and not clever, but I won't usually do more than like $50 or $100 bonus on any horse at any time, just cause sustainability as well. But with my stakes, if I'm ever turning them over on horses, I will just do large stakes because I get impatient. But the reality is, if one thing just slightly goes, regardless of how good you are at Betfair, if one, 2, 3 seconds goes the wrong way, you can lose it, a couple $100. And as
yeah,
I said, I'm fairly good at Betfair. But if you get greedy, or you think you're better than the market, or you think you're smarter than you really are, it can burn you fairly quickly. So I can only imagine the mistakes that people that try and teach themselves Betfair make, because even when you're a pro at it, not a pro, but even when you're really, really good at it and you know it inside out, you know it back to front, you can still make mistakes. Like
mm,
you're trading on a market, essentially, a live market. So things can change, things can happen very quickly. And if you don't have the skills to be able to adapt when they do change, or you don't know what to do, like at least you said, shit, I realized I laid the wrong horse or whatever. Now I know that I have to go and back it. Now that I know that I have to back it for this kind of stake,
yeah,
you already have a rough idea of what you're doing, and you've only been doing this for a month. So if someone that's more experienced will know, shit, I just I just did a $48 lay stake on this horse. I need to back it for potentially this amount of money at these odds on this one. And you can do that fairly quickly and do that math in your head because you have that skill. But if you have never done Betfair before,
yeah,
or started to teach yourself, and it's your first, second, third bet, you've done $100 bonus bet on something, or you've laid it first, you haven't got your bonus down, you
You're
don't know what to
fucked.
do. You can lose, as JP said, you can lose 100, 300. You could wipe out like 80% of your bankroll if it's in your Betfair
yeah,
in one race. So
yeah,
it's you love that people want to try and teach themselves, and people are trying to learn a new skill, and I totally understand that. But it's honestly similar to like doing forex and stuff. Like you're just trading on a live market, which is what Betfair is. And just because you know horses or you've placed bets before, unfortunately, that holds no relevance when you jump across to Betfair, especially when it comes to laying. So I'm
yeah,
glad that you've had that experience, but also had the skills and the knowledge and understanding that you also picked up on the mistake very quickly, and then you rectified it. So, and the other thing as well that I wanted to say is that cashing out and accepting, not cashing out, but accepting a 23% bonus turnover, as opposed to going, oh, fuck it, I hope it doesn't win.
yeah,
That's an elite mindset. And yeah, as I said, the fact that you had the skills to be able to clear yourself off and you still made 23% risk-free profit. No, it's not 80%, but it's still risk-free profit. And that's better than the alternative of letting it ride or not understanding the mistake you've made and potentially
yeah,
losing a shit ton of
Yeah.
money. So
Yeah.
that's also an elite mistake to make, and everybody makes it
Yeah,
in their
but I mean,
first couple months.
I wouldn't, I wouldn't have covered that off if I hadn't gone through platinum. Because yeah, because I had 4 or 5 minutes to the jump still. And look, mate, you guys talk about getting as close as possible for the best odds. Obviously, I'm still trying to give myself a bit of a buffer so that if I do fuck up, I can cover it. But yeah,
Yep.
I wouldn't have even thought about it. I would have been like, fuck, there's my bonus gone. You know, whatever. Yeah, let's just let it ride. But instead, it was just like, all right, cool. Let me whip open the next account because I know I've still got a bonus in there. Find the race, get it on, update it. All right, we make a bit of money. We learn the lesson. Take a breath. Double check everything before you hit submit. Again, if it means
Yeah.
that I'm still putting it on, 3-4 minutes out from the jump as opposed to 1 or 2 minutes, then cool, whatever. Um,
Yeah, you'll get better. Like
yeah,
it's just a progression.
that's it. But I mean, the only other thing that I had was in terms of following you guys on the system on the day, super fucking simple. When you guys send out the promo list, yeah, just get a notepad out. All right, I'm going to do those bookies, those bookies, those bookies. That's perfectly fine. I did fuck up on the day, and I'll admit it. I got greedy. So
I saw you posted in the chat.
yeah. So I got a bit greedy. We had I think the first 5 races we either hit promos or winners. So we were like, all right, I think it was like promo, winner or something like that. So I was like,
You
oh
mean
man,
bonus back, yeah?
yeah, sorry,
Promo.
bonus, yeah, sorry. So
Yeah.
so it was like bonus,
Yeah.
winner, and I was like, oh my god, this is unbelievable, it's legitimate. And then the next tip came out, it was like $1.90 favorite, and I was like, well, I was working on $10 units, and I'm like, oh well, $1.95 favorite. You guys are saying I think it was 2.5 units. I'm like, I'm putting $50 on it. Like, let's go. Let's max it out, right?
Wait, that would have been. Hang on, was that? It wouldn't have been a 2.5 on the $1.90. Would it? Was it definitely the $1.90 horse?
Yeah, I'm
I think
pretty.
it was aft cabin.
Yeah,
Two.
yeah.
It would have been like 210.
Yeah,
It might have
yeah.
been $1.95 on some bookies for
Yeah,
No,
sure.
in
yeah. It was
terms
like
of
a
the
dollar and
units,
five,
it
or
wouldn't have been two
or
and a
two
half on
dollars.
that one. I don't think, but it's the same
But yeah,
principle.
but there was a
That's. We'll have to check the results anyway.
But yeah, so
Sorry.
there was a red hot favorite, and yeah, it might have been two. I think it was 2 units on that, and then half a unit on like a $6
Yeah.
option or something.
Yeah, Jack and O.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh well, let me put the full whack on the favorite because like we're on an absolute tear here, boys. And so I did it, and it got boxed in. I think it finished like third last, and then
Yeah.
and then later in the day we had
That's
another
good.
one come in that was like a $2.40 favorite, $2.50 favorite. And it was the only tip, and I think again it was like a 1.5 or a $2 unit outlay. And I did the same thing again. I was like, oh fuck it, I'm putting $40 on this because again, like we've had a great day. Let's keep going. Gambler's fallacy, right? I literally fell into the trap of like, boys, we're on a roll. What a day we're having. And so I think on the day we finished, like you guys finished up 14.5 units, and I worked out I was only 6.5 units up because those 2 horses got absolutely fucked. Didn't even place, so I didn't get a bonus back. And so instead of losing, $40 across the 2 bets, I've lost $100 and cost myself money.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah. Well,
I messaged Tom and I was just like, fucking follow the system. If you guys say 2 units, just put 2 fucking units on. Don't double down just because it's a favorite. Don't double down just because we're on a tear, just because we're having a good run or anything like that. It's like if you guys say it, 1 unit, it's 1 unit.
It's
if you
why
guys
we
say 2
all.
units,
It's why we
two
always
units.
apologize about being like a broken record because the reality is like what you've just said. I would say 60 to 70% of our subscribers over their first month will fall into that trap of doing that at least once, or gambling some of their bonuses away,
Yeah.
or doing some of their own betting after a really profitable day. I know, like 3 weeks ago when we had an extremely profitable period, I was sending weekly follow-ups, checking in with them, how are you going? And they've been like, look, the system's great, made so much profit, but fell into the trap of, when you guys finished at race 6 at Caulfield, I had a couple of horses that I liked in the afternoon and I started playing with the profits that I made and gave a fair bit of it back, right? And the reality is we will continue to sound like broken records, sound like wet blankets, blokes that aren't fun at parties. That's fine. Like, we're happy to cop all of that because we know that if you listen, as you have just already realized yourself, and sometimes it takes longer than others, you might have got lucky and those bets might have won and it wouldn't have taught you anything because you end up doing it again.
Yeah.
But it's actually elite that they lost and you were still in profit, because the reality is there'll be days when we lose For example, last Saturday we had a losing day, and I have no doubt in my mind that loads of our subscribers that have been there for less than a month would have placed other bets after that to try and get some of the losses back, or they would have gambled their bonuses, and they more often than not will end up significantly worse off. Okay. The reality is if you get lucky, you get lucky. But we're not here for luck. As you said, just follow the system. We know that it works. We know that it's going to make profit in the long term. We will continue to say it till we're blue in the face. But if you follow it, stick to your money management. And as you said, we take out we remove the gambler's fallacy or the emotion or we're on a hot streak, we can't lose. We're definitely going to, we could easily think that as well and start placing 2-3 units on every single tip. But the reality is if it doesn't fit the system, if it doesn't fit our model, we're just going to back what we know is going to make us profit in the long term. And it does take most subscribers 3, 4, 5 weeks to understand that. But once they do, they cut down their outside punting. They're like, fuck it. Like, why would I punt anywhere else? If I know that I'm going to make on average, 30 units profit a month, let's just build my bankroll and focus on the system. And it does sometimes take a few silly mistakes or a few errors like that. But that's why we touch base with them regularly. We keep reminding them every single time there's 10, 15, 20 minutes before a race. We'll write in the chat and be like, guys, just because we're having a great day, don't go gamble, don't go bet somewhere else. Just stick to the system, remove emotion. That's what you're here to do. Just follow it like a robot and you will make profit.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
There's two things I want to add here. Like, obviously, we just harped on about two things that affect money. One thing affects money management. The two massive factors that are the reason why most gamblers would lose, literally these only two factors, are money management and emotions. And emotions are the biggest one because they then affect money management. Money management determines why you lose, but why you actually change your money management is your emotion. So you thinking that you are on fucking cloud 9 and let's just double up and put 4 times the amount you're supposed to put on it.
Yep.
You may as well just say, I want to lose. Like, so that's affected that. So what a lot of people do, and this is not everyone, I know personally when I used to match bet and follow the system, especially my last year and a half, this is where we made the majority of our profits through COVID. Myself, Tom and Steve would literally sit on a call like this and literally just destroy Saturdays. We'd make 4 or 5K in a day. We'd piss ourselves and it would be the best, right? It kept us going through COVID, right? But for us, we are like, we've done this for so long that we can sit there and exactly follow it to the cent, exactly what we need to put on the horse. And we know that we'll never change that. We don't get emotional, but a lot of people don't watch the races for this reason. And a lot of people come into this. We've had like people who've never placed a bet before who completely come into this from an investment side of things. And they literally place the bet, they turn their bonus over and they don't even watch the race. Because if you start watching the race, for a lot of people, you then start getting emotionally attached to it. It's all good to have fun and stuff. And if you can control that, then I would obviously recommend doing that because it's more fun to be involved. Yes, you're making money, but watching the horse, you get that thrill while you're still betting in a way where you know you're going to win, all right? But if that thrill is then fucking you up and causing you to make different decisions about how much you're putting on the horse, then maybe that's something that people should do. But I have no concerns about you because you've literally you're borderline like
it's
robotic
lesson
already, and you've just started.
Yeah, I mean it's lesson learned. It was day one. We got on a roll. I was on the hype train. It was literally just like, holy fuck, look at what's happening here. Let's go. And then when the shorter odds tips came in, and I guess it's funny because like when you guys put the things out, and this is sort of the last thing I'll say because I do have to sort of wind this up and get back to work. Sorry, boys.
That's all right.
I think the interesting thing looking back on it is when you guys put the tips out, you don't mention any odds. It's just this is the name of it's like here's the race, here's the horse number, here's the unit size. Doesn't matter. It could be a $2 favorite, it could be a $10 outsider. You guys have done what you need to do to say this is the horse for whatever reasons. The secrets, herbs and spices. Just because I looked at it and I'm like, all right, we're 5 from 5 or whatever it was, or 5 from 6 in terms of bonuses or outright wins. This is the shortest price horse we've had all day. Let's load up because clearly we're on the run. We're on a run today, and it fucked up and it cost me money. Like I said, if I was a $20, $40, $50 unit punter, that would have been $500 or whatever it was, $400 that's cost me over the course of the day. Which is, look, if that's your bankroll and that's fine, go for it. But yeah, I guess that's the message, man.
It cost you $80, yeah?
Yeah, it cost me about $100. Yeah.
$100. Well, now that's why we recommend starting on a smaller unit size, because this is going to happen, and this is
100,
why
yeah,
people come in. Yeah,
100%.
exactly.
And as I said, everything else we stuck fat. It was literally just like, oh my god, these are. Yeah, I was on the hype train, and it was stupid, and it's cost me money, but I get lesson learned. So next Saturday when we get back on and you guys put the message out and you go, it's it's a $2.10 favorite and the next best horse is $7 or whatever it is, and you guys say it's 1.5 units, I'm like, cool, it's 1.5
Correct.
units.
1.5.
I just wanted to touch on one thing. I know you're about to leave, but
Yeah,
that's the best thing about the mistake that you made was that in that race where you loaded up the short price favorite or whatever it was that we did tip a second horse in that
yeah,
race at about $7. And we do have a lot of subscribers message us or ask us before the day, after the day, is the first tip that you send out the one that is more important? Do we just choose which one? And it's like, no. We have a set staking plan. We outlay a certain number of units on different races for whatever reason, because we believe this is going to be more profitable. And you loaded up on the favorite in that race. Everyone else,
yeah,
that followed properly still profited on that race, because the second horse that we tipped half a unit at 7-1 saluted. So,
yeah,
that's the situation where after you make a mistake, you go, fuck, I'm not going to do that again, because these guys know what they're talking about. This system's made profit today. I should have made 9 more units than I should have. And next time, I'm going to follow by the rules. And
yeah,
hopefully people don't have to always make a mistake to understand that. But a lot of the time they do. But then it's, all right, let's, all systems go. Let's just follow it and do it properly. And then I'll profit in the long term.
Before you
that's
go,
exactly it.
Pete, do you want to just talk about? I know you really got to go, but Instagram. What's been happening on Insta?
Yeah, it's like I said before, I'm
Good
not
and
a
bad.
I'm not a social media person. It's been interesting. Yeah, I mentioned before GT reached out, said he'd been following you guys for a little while. Wasn't sure. He's been saving up. He didn't know what sort of bankroll he needed. So he's just asking about how I was going and what it was doing for me. Best option is to reach out to you boys and explain where he's at and what he wants to do, whether he needs to sign up for platinum and the system, whether he just needs to start with a smaller stake on the system, build things up. Everybody's situation is different, and so asking those questions and getting information is critical. I did have my first troll, which was funny. Apparently this bloke Santos Carlos, sorry, has been at you guys for a little while, and he had a bit of a poke at me,
Yeah.
mentioning that after we pay for the subscription, we're only making 25 cents on the dollar. And he was like, it's not worth it. You could
Only.
what was his example? You could put $300 on a
Just
dollar.
back $1.25
Yeah,
favorite.
$300 on a $1.25 favorite will give you the same thing. And I was like, I mean, that's great, but like we literally just spoke about how a favorite got absolutely smashed. So if you want to go and do that,
Yeah.
that's fine. If anybody else came to me and said, "Hey, mate, I've got a guaranteed 25% return on investment. Give me $500 and I guarantee you 25% week on week," I'd probably slap them and walk away because that sounds fucking ridiculous. But look, if the, as an idea, not taking into account the subscription, because obviously I've only been doing this for a few weeks, but I've turned over bonuses, done a bit of dutching. I've had one or two mug bets luckily get up, and look, we're talking like like $5 on a $1.93 favorite, whatever it was in the footy. So it's a couple of bucks, but with the calculator, I think overall I'm tracking it's about 48% ROI that we've got
Yeah.
that we've got at the
What's the
moment.
total profit?
It's just under $400,
Yeah, nice.
and
Nice.
that's in a month, and that includes the disaster from Saturday, and I've still got about $50 worth of mug Dutch bets that are outstanding because I threw a couple of
And you
bets on
probably
them
didn't place a bet for the first 3 weeks, yeah? 2 weeks.
on
In
on
terms
the
of
account.
learning
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the
yeah,
time you signed
yeah.
up.
So my
Yeah.
first bet was 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks Sunday.
Yeah,
So
cool.
yeah,
So
it took
about
me
2 weeks into
yeah,
actually
yeah.
betting.
So
Yeah.
I started following 2 weeks after my first bet. So yeah, so I've been going for 2.5 weeks at this stage. But I've literally placed no bets
Yeah,
since
sick.
Saturday. So
Yeah.
yeah, man,
Yeah, awesome.
it's ace. We've obviously got the AFL finals start up this week. the NBA and the NFL startup. So I've already been talking to Tommy.
Yeah, NBA is amazing for match betting.
Yeah. So there's a lot more opportunities to kind of get those Dutching options out of the way. Through the week, which means we can increase sustainability, which means that we can smash Saturdays, which I'm looking forward to. So, yeah, all right, boys. I really need to get
Gotta
going.
get back to work.
Yeah,
Thanks
Easy.
for joining us again. We'll follow you up in a
Check-in.
couple of months.
Yeah, absolutely, boys.
Reach out to Pete if you have any questions. Watch his progress on Insta.
That's
But
it.
see you guys later.
Platinum Pete, let's go.